We have two stories for you today. Now the question is, where does a story come from? I heard Shamim, who's going to tell a story later, tell me a story from Bangladesh. But I know that story, having worked in Korea, as a Korean story or a Japanese story. But is it Korean? Is it Bangladeshi? Is it Japanese? No, because wherever it started, stories travel. They travel like people travel. Here in the East End, it's a place of people who've come from other places. Historically, it's a place of travellers who've come and settled here. But the question is, why do we tell stories? Well, sometimes we tell a story that will give the message of something that we probably can't say directly. Because maybe it's dangerous, or maybe we don't want to reveal something that was true, but we want the message to get through. And we hope that today I will tell a traditional story and Shamim will tell a true story. At the time, maybe she wasn't able to tell it as a true story. And that's why perhaps we have a traditional story. But the thing that links the two stories is a song. We're going to hear it as a violin tune, but you will hear what this song means as we go into our two stories. A hunter was walking through the woods, looking for something to shoot, something to eat, with his bow and his arrow. And as he walked, he looked, what could he find? But as he was looking for something to eat, something to kill, he saw a bird in the tree. And it was a beautiful bird. And he said, "Beautiful bird, you're so beautiful. I think you're the most beautiful bird I've seen. So if you're a beautiful bird, sing a beautiful song for me." And the bird looked down at the hunter and moved itself on its little twig of a branch. And the hunter said, "Go on, you're beautiful. Sing a beautiful song." And the bird looked, and the bird moved itself and went, "Na, na, 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 na." "What? That's a horrible sound. You're a beautiful bird. Sing a beautiful song." And so the bird, once more, said, "Na, na, 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 na." "If you do that once more, I'll shoot you with my bow and arrow." So what did the bird do? The bird moved on its branch, na, 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 na. Without thinking, the hunter released that arrow, and the arrow hit the bird in its heart, and the bird fell to the ground, thump. The hunter was quite shocked because he hadn't intended to, but hunters, they're ready with their bow and they're ready with their arrow. And he went over to the bird, picked it up by the arrow, pulled the arrow out and said, "It's your fault. I said I'd shoot you, and you made me shoot you." And he threw the bird down and started to walk away. But as he walked away, he heard from behind him, "Na, na, 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 na. I've just killed you." So he picked up that bird and he pulled every feather out of that bird. "I'll show you," and left it. Of course, the bird had no feathers, and the bird said, "I don't believe this." So he picked up that bird and he put it onto a block of wood, and always he had his axe with him. Chop, 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 chop. And he chopped it into 1,000 pieces, and off he walked. That'll teach you. But of course, as he walked away, the hunter was so angry. He wasn't far from home. He ran home. He got a pan. He made a fire. And he put all those pieces of bird into the pan with water. He boiled it up. And there was the bird, all the bits of a bird bubbling in the pan. And from the pan came... He put his... he burned his hand. He tipped the water out, took all those pieces of boiled bird and put them into the ground. He made a little hole in the ground and buried it. That will teach you. And he walked away. There was no sound, so he kept walking. But it didn't take long before he heard... The hunter couldn't believe what was happening. He dug up all those little bits covered in dirt, and he found a box, and he put them into the box, and with some string he tied the box, and he took a stone, he put it on top of the box, and he tied the stone on top, and he took the box with the stone on top down to the river, and he dropped it into the river, and in the river it sank to the bottom. But on the bottom of the river, the fish with their little fishy mouths, they came, and their little fishy mouths opened those little knots, and the stone fell off, and with their little fishy mouths they opened the knot on the box, and that fell off, and the box slowly rose to the surface, and all the children were coming out of the school, and they were singing a song that they had heard, and the song went like this. But suddenly they stopped because they looked at the surface of the river. And coming from the surface of the river was not one bird, not two, but 1,000 birds. And they flew into all the trees in the forest. And the hunter was still looking for something to kill. And suddenly he saw the bird. I've just killed you. And he saw another and another and another. Everywhere he looked, he saw beautiful birds in the tree. And he said, "What's happening? What's happening?" But the children said, "Don't you know what's happening? It's the freedom bird. And if you kill one freedom bird, 1,000 more freedom birds will be born."
You know, that tune actually took me nearly 70 years ago. And it is a true story. It is a true story from Bangladesh. It is about language. But before that, can I tell you the date? Date is very important, which is 21st of February, 1952. What happened? It was students' protest. They were protesting to speak in their own language, from their own land. So who are the people? We're not listening to them. Why they have to protest it? Because Bangladesh was East Pakistan once upon a time. And East Pakistan was one wing, but the other part was called West Pakistan. this East Pakistan and West Pakistan, they were far away from each other. Geographically, it was hundreds and thousands miles away. But they were one country. One country was born in 1947. But the majority people were speaking in Bangla from East Pakistan. And the minority people had the language as Urdu. But they are the people who were the rulers. So they made the decision, not the decision for the people who speak in Bangla. The people of West Pakistan, they wanted to make Urdu as a national language, state language. Guess what? What would the other people think? Their language is Bangla, their culture is so different, and everything is so different. Why they would speak a language that they don't know? Why the Pakistani would force them to speak in a language which is not their own? This is why the story begins. And as usual, the student folks were the people, the front runner. They said, we got to protest it. And they were protesting it. After Pakistani government pronounced that Urdu and only Urdu would be the language of the state. They said, no, no, no. We have to speak in our own language, which is Bangla. And you can speak in your own language, which is Urdu. There could be two national languages. But it wasn't accepted, so they had to protest. And all of them gathered one day. But by the time curfew was imposed, and all sorts of rally and protest was banned. So while they were gathering in the university under the huge mango tree where the medical college was, all the students in one side and the other side of the road, they were this police, they were with guns, with the vans, all equipped. It felt like a battlefield. But these students were not doing anything, not using any arms. They were non-violent. And they thought they will come out of the gate in force. Young people, men and women, they started coming out in force. So when the first lot came out, immediately the police came and arrested them, sent them to the jail. And the second lot came out. They arrested them and sent them to the jail. And the third lot came out. And they arrested them. And the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth. My goodness. It's like, they are increasing. They are like hundreds and thousands. And they got really puzzled how many they can arrest. It is unstoppable. These people want to speak in their own language. That's why they are protesting. So what happened then? They fired gun on them. And there were deaths. There were 4 deaths on the spot. And people were even more furious. It couldn't stop them. The whole protest grew in a way like wildfire everywhere, around the whole country. And government thought it is really getting difficult. And what happened where those students died? They made some temporary monument to remember them. pay some respect. They put flowers in there. They wrote song. They wrote poems. The song that you heard, it is like a ballad. It is a story of oppression of Pakistan on Bangladesh. And this has become a symbol to Bangladeshis all around the world. And the monument was temporary. It was then became permanent. And this is called Language Martyrs Monument. And every year on 21st of February, Bangladeshi people started paying their respect, gathering under the monument. Guess what? It inspires the people. It inspired the East Pakistani people, and that led to the freedom fighting movement of independence. And the country was independent in 1971. That was the inspiration to have their own land, to speak in their own language. And guess what? I mean, after so many years, in 1998, to Canadian Bangladeshi, they thought it would be a good idea to have a day in the year to celebrate people's mother language. Everybody's mother language is so important. And why not pick up the date when the students of Bangladesh, they gave their life to speak in their own language. And UNESCO accepted that petition. And since then, wherever we are around the world, we celebrate 21st of February as International Mother Language Day.